The normally peaceful atmosphere of the evening at society, with a murmur of diners and warm lights, was suddenly disturbed by unusual events. Fate, intrigue and betrayal intersected, leading to a series of suffocatingly tense situations. Sharon Newman, in an elegant dress, stepped out of the car parked outside society. The night was quiet, but a fleeting feeling of unease made her glance around. There was nothing suspicious. She had just closed the car door when from behind, a figure appeared like a ghost. It was Jordan, with a cold gaze and terrifying determination. Before she could react, Sharon felt a strong force from the back of her neck. A needle containing anesthetic had pierced her skin. Sharon only had time to mumble a few words before her body went limp and fell into the arms of her attacker. Jordan looked around, pulling her into the darkness, leaving the parking lot empty and mysterious. Ian Ward, who always wore the Warren Masters guise, appeared calm but mysterious. This time, he pretended to be a last-minute customer. He approached Tessa, who was checking the evening's reservations. Tessa, though busy, maintained a professional demeanor. "I'm afraid we're full, but if anyone cancels, I'll put you on." Ian smiled pleasantly, not showing any disappointment. While Tessa stepped out to check the kitchen, Ian took the opportunity to stealthily take out a small vial containing a colorless liquid. He deftly poured it into Tessa's glass of water and left, pretending that nothing had happened. Tessa fell for the trap. When she returned, Tessa held the glass of water in her hand and took a gulp. The anesthetic quickly took effect. A wave of dizziness hit Tessa, causing her to stop. She felt unwell, but tried not to worry anyone. Outdoor encounter. Outside society, the cold night air was not enough to keep Tessa awake. She stumbled against the wall, gasping for breath, and then collapsed. At that moment, Ian appeared, playing the good guy to perfection. Ian helped Tessa sit down by the window, pretending to help her recover. Tessa, exhausted, could not resist or realize his scheme. Mariah discovered the truth. As Ian continued his act, Mariah, Tessa's girlfriend, walked out the door. She immediately noticed the abnormality when she saw Tessa fall into Ian's arms. Mariah's eyes widened, a mixture of fear and anger. Mariah immediately rushed forward and pulled Tessa from Ian's arms, her eyes burning with anger. "Do you think I will believe you, Ian? What did you do to her?" Tessa was too weak to speak, but her frightened gaze towards Ian said it all. Mariah saw it and needed no further proof. The drama peaked. With nothing left to hide, Ian stood up, his gaze sharper and more dangerous than ever. "You always get in my way, Mariah, but this time, you can't stop me from taking Tessa away." Mariah stood in front of Tessa, ready to confront Ian despite the fear in her heart. "I won't let you hurt her another second," she declared. The loud noise in the society caught everyone's attention and they poured out. Abby, Devon, and a few others rushed over, pressuring Ian to retreat. But his eyes couldn't hide his anger and determination. Tessa, exhausted as she was, took Mariah's hand, her eyes filled with gratitude and trust. Mariah held her close, silently promising to never let Tessa fall into danger again. Inside the society, the atmosphere was tense as everyone began to talk about what had just happened. But to Mariah, the only thing that mattered was Tessa's safety. A dangerous scene had just ended, but what Ian had done was clearly the beginning of darker events that awaited. Genoa City is not without its ups and downs, but this story has pushed everything to the climax. Sharon Newman, a strong woman who has encountered many difficulties in her life, has become the target of a cruel plan. Jordan, a character who always hides a dangerous nature behind a gentle appearance, decides to kidnap Sharon to carry out a plot to blackmail Newman, the man Sharon loves passionately. The war not only takes place at the scene of the kidnapping, but also explodes in the Newman family when Victor and Nick's parents, strongly oppose the relationship between him and Sharon. In this chaotic scene, Nick not only has to confront the evil, but also has to face his family to protect the woman he loves. Jordan and the evil plan. Jordan, who has been secretly watching Sharon, knows that her relationship with Nick is a fatal weakness for him to exploit. One day, Sharon suddenly disappeared without a trace, leaving Nick in a panic. Just a few hours later, Nick received an anonymous call from Jordan, his voice cold. "Want Sharon to be safe? Prepare $10 million and keep your mouth shut. Don't be foolish enough to call the police, otherwise, she won't survive." Nick, who has always been known for his fierce determination and intense love for those he cares about, immediately stepped into the fight. However, he was not alone. Ray Rosales, his close friend and talented police officer, secretly joined the case to help Nick rescue Sharon. Storm in the Newman family. Amid escalating tensions, Nick faced fierce opposition from his parents, Victor and Nikki. For Victor, the relationship between Nick and Sharon had long been a thorn in his side. He believed that Sharon was never worthy of his son and was always the source of trouble in the family. Nikki, though gentler, shared a similar view. "Nick, you can't give up everything for Sharon. Don't you think about your family, about the honor of the Newman family?" Nikki urged earnestly. But this time, Nick was no longer the weak-willed boy who was forced by his parents. He declared firmly, "I will not let anyone, not even you, decide my life. Sharon is the person I love, and I will do everything to protect her." Nick's words made Victor extremely angry. But he was still a father, after all. Seeing Nick's determination, Victor decided to secretly monitor the situation and be ready to intervene if things got out of hand. The dramatic rescue. Nick and Ray devised a plan to deal with Jordan. Thanks to a small clue that Sharon left behind, a broken bracelet that had fallen at the scene, Ray determined where she was being held, an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Genoa City. When Jordan arrived, he was ready to deal with the situation. He threatened Sharon with a weapon, using her as a hostage to force Nick to hand over the money. Nick, not wanting to put Sharon's life in danger, agreed to hand over the money but secretly waited for an opportunity to counterattack. As the tension escalated, Ray sneaked in from behind, using her professional skills to disable one of Jordan's henchmen. When the situation became chaotic, Sharon, with her strong will, took advantage of Jordan's moment of distraction to escape him. She grabbed a nearby wooden stick and hit him hard, opening the way for Nick and Ray to subdue the criminal. Happiness after the storm. Sharon was rescued safely, but the mental trauma after the incident was inevitable. However, Nick was always by her side, taking care of her and encouraging her. This event further proved that Nick's love for Sharon was sincere, strong enough to overcome all challenges. As for Victor and Nikki, although they did not completely change their attitudes, they gradually accepted Nick and Sharon's relationship after witnessing what their son was willing to do to protect the person he loved. Victor, although he did not admit it, had a bit of respect for Sharon in his eyes. Genoa City returned to its usual peace, but no one could forget the suffocating moments that had happened. The story between Nick and Sharon continued, as an affirmation that love, even when challenged by dark forces or opposition from family, is always the strongest flame that guides them through all difficulties. Nick Newman's family, already going through a rough patch, is now faced with a whole new challenge when Sharon suddenly disappears without a trace. Sharon's strange absence not only disrupts family life but also sets off a series of dramatic events, plunging everyone into a whirlwind of emotions and suspicion. It all started one quiet morning. Nick woke up and felt something was wrong. The bed next to him was empty, and Sharon was nowhere to be seen. At first, Nick assumed she had just gone out for a walk or visited friends without notice. But as the day went by, with no calls or messages from Sharon, Nick's anxiety began to rise. He searched the house, looking for any sign that Sharon had left a message. But there was nothing. Her phone lay on the kitchen table, her familiar handbag still hanging in the corner of the closet. A growing sense of unease crept up inside Nick. The family fell into chaos. Nick immediately called his family members, reporting Sharon's disappearance. Questions poured in. What happened? What did Sharon say before she left? Was she seeing anyone or having any problems recently? But Nick couldn't answer. Each question seemed to only make him more confused. Sharon's two children, Noah and Faith, were in deep shock. Faith sobbed, constantly asking her father where her mother was. Meanwhile, Noah tried to stay calm, but his anxious eyes betrayed his true feelings. The Newman family gradually fell into chaos. The search began. Nick decided he couldn't sit still. He quickly contacted the police to report Sharon missing. The dispatch of police to the Newman home to gather information attracted media attention, sparking a series of rumors and speculation. Questions began to arise. Why had Sharon disappeared? Was it a kidnapping or simply an accident? Nick did not simply wait for the police to act. He organized the search himself, enlisting the help of close friends and neighbors. Sharon's usual haunts, such as the park where she walked her dog, her favorite coffee shop, and her church, were thoroughly searched. But all efforts yielded no results. The mystery deepened. While investigating, the police discovered a suspicious detail. Sharon's car was found in a deserted area, far from the city center. The doors were unlocked, there were no signs of a struggle inside, but a bloody handkerchief had been left on the passenger seat. This turned the case from a simple disappearance to something more sinister. The Newman family was torn apart by speculation and suspicion. Victor, Nick's powerful father, begins to question whether Sharon is deliberately disappearing to avoid trouble in her life or whether she is actually the victim of a sinister plot. Meanwhile, Nikki, Sharon's stepmother, believes that someone is out to destroy the Newman family. Nick refuses to give up. Despite all the turmoil, Nick refuses to give up. He immerses himself in documents, reviews every clue the police find, and even hires private investigators to assist in the investigation. Nick's determination is admired by everyone, but it also gradually wears him down both physically and mentally. In a painful moment, Nick recalls happy memories with Sharon, the afternoons spent together, the times they weathered storms together. He tells himself that he will not let anything happen to her that he cannot fix. A surprising truth? Just when all hope seems lost, an anonymous phone call turns the story on its head. The caller claims to have information about Sharon but demands a large ransom for her safety. Nick can't determine whether this is a hoax or a genuine clue. However, it suggests that Sharon may still be alive and being held hostage by someone. Nick is forced to make a decision. Should he follow the stranger's demands or continue to cooperate with the police to rescue Sharon without giving anything in return? Is it the end or the beginning of a larger conspiracy? With each step, the story of Sharon's disappearance becomes more than just a journey to find a loved one. It also becomes a major test of patience, family bonds, and the complex relationships in the world of the young and the restless. What dangers will Nick and the Newman family face next? Will Sharon return safely, or will the incident set off a dangerous chain of intrigue that no one could have predicted?